There we go. Now it's recording. We have Peyton here from Red Sentry. He is going to help me answer any tough questions that you guys come up with. So please do come up with some tough questions. All right, perfect. So I want to just discuss the new FTC safeguards rule. And really the way I want to do this is through this presentation that we put together with Red Sentry. I want to go over what the rule is, why the rule was created. So I think it's always important to know why something was created, and then who it applies to, the software, the systems requirements, and what vulnerability scanning is. And then we can talk about solutions that we can help offer with the partnership we have with Red Sentry. So I will open this up at the end for questions. We do have a lot of people on here, so if you don't mind, just hold those till the end or message them in the chat and I'll get to them. So the FTC safeguards rule, what is this exactly? Well, in 2021, the FTC implemented the safeguards rule under the GLBA. So it was designed to be a consumer protection regulation. So really designed to protect personal and financial information of the consumers. Something I found out through working with our team here and asking a lot of questions is typically the FTC's jurisdiction doesn't apply to retail, but since this rule is for consumer protection, it does extend over to the retail environment. And the safeguards rule requires certain businesses develop, implement, and maintain a comprehensive information security program to protect your consumers' information. And how does this impact your business? Non-compliance of the law will result in civil fines of a personal fine up to $100,000 per violation. So something we want to try to avoid here is getting fined, but really at its core, what we want to do is we want to protect our customers and our customers that we're building relationships with. We don't want to have their data be jeopardized by just us not putting best practices forward. So why was the rule created? I'm sure everybody on here knows that hacking has been on the rise, 2020 especially. I feel like when everybody was alone at their house and they didn't have anything to do, all the hackers got busy. They started hacking, holding people's data, ransom, and just with the rise of these attacks, a lot of people were losing sensitive information. There's some financial loss, obviously, and then damage to reputation of business and consumers. So the FTC safeguards rule addresses the growing threat of cybercrime by aiming to ensure that businesses proactively assess risks, implement suitable safeguards, and monitor and adapt security practices to safeguard their customers' information. So in recent years, wait, did I go back? I went back, sorry. So who the safeguard rules applies to? This is going to apply to retailers to extend credit to customers. So furniture stores, pet stores, jewelry stores, elective medical, and dental practices. There are obviously a lot of other businesses that this extends to, like mortgage companies. I saw like tax prep, travel agencies that offer credit, automobile dealerships. So there's a wide range of people that this applies to. But I think this kind of covers, the people that are on the webinar today. And what they are requiring, so Peyton, correct me if I'm wrong here, the GLBA, that was passed, I believe, like early 2000s, and they already had some sort of rules in place for consumer data protection. But the safeguards rule, that amendment, when that came around, basically what the FTC is requiring now is that you have some sort of vulnerability scanning or penetration testing done. And if you do vulnerability scanning, it is a cheaper alternative. And that is, that's what we are offering through Red Sentry. So the pen testing or penetration testing, that can be thought of like as offensive hacking. So you can either do that 2 times a year, so every 6 months, or you can have 24/7 vulnerability scanning. And I know vulnerability scanning is probably something that's new to everybody here. So I use ChatGPT to give me a breakdown of how to explain vulnerability scanning if I were talking to high schoolers. So this is what it came up with. I think it's a pretty good analogy. Just like detectives look for clues to find weaknesses in a case, vulnerability scanning looks for weaknesses in a computer system. So your whole IT infrastructure is going to be scanned constantly and monitored. And it's going to use special software to do that and check your computers, your websites, your networks for any openings or vulnerabilities that would leave you exposed to hackers. So it's just like checking all the doors and windows at your house at night before you go to sleep, and you're going to make sure that they're locked properly. The software is going to be doing that 24/7 on all your systems, and it's going to give you reporting to let you know if you do have any vulnerabilities and how to fix those problems.
I think that's spot on, right?
And then, yeah, I put this in here. I didn't talk about it, but I mentioned it briefly. But Peyton, since I have you here, I think it's good to just talk about the two options to be compliant. One being the vulnerability scanning, and then the penetration testing. So I know I put that this is more expensive. Is that like where I know you guys offer both at Red Sentry, but with penetration testing, like what's the, I guess, average cost difference?
Typically, like a penetration test can start anywhere from, say, $4,000 all the way up to 20,000 or more, just depending on the size of your environment. So being able to go the route of continuous scanning through our partnership with FormPiper will definitely decrease some costs there. But what we do recommend, though, as like the vulnerability scanning is going to constantly monitor your network, if you did want to do a deeper dive, you could always do a penetration test as well on top of the continuous scanning, just to really take a deeper dive, especially if once you're signed up for the scanning, you're starting to see a plethora of issues. And if you wanted to dive deeper into that and do a manual test as well, FormPiper can definitely help you out on that side through the partnership as well. But
Awesome.
the scanning is going to cover you and have an attestation letter that you could give to any FTC auditor, showing that you've gotten this done and have the scanning in place.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, right? Is the FTC comes and they're knocking on your door, you want to have something that you can show them, right? And worst case scenario is you don't have anything in place, the FTC comes, or if something were to happen and you were to get hacked, even if you did have something in place, I think that's better to show that you were at least trying to prevent any type of cyber crime from stealing your customers' data. So next question, I'm sure this is going to get asked, is how do we get started? If you are a FormPiper customer, you can simply log into your account, go over to the integration side, and then hit this activate button. I would also say you can give me a call or you can email me and we can set up a time to talk through it, because depending on your environment and the way everything's set up, there's one or two different ways you can go. So I want to talk about this. If you're not a FormPiper customer, the best way would be to just get in contact with me. I'll drop my contact info. Or Katie, could you put my contact info, my email in the chat? And you guys can shoot me an email. And what we'll do is we'll set you up an account, a free FormPiper account that will just have the Red Sentry integration. That way you can get covered. Thanks, Katie. That way you can be protected. So I do want to open up the chat to any questions. I think the best would be just type them out in the chat down in the bottom right-hand corner, because we do have so many people on this webinar. I'll also shoot out an email when this is done of the recording to everybody that's on, in case you did come in late and you missed something. But feel free to ask any questions and we'll get those answered.
I have a
my
question in
question slide.
regards to,
Yes.
I have a POS system, which is Lightspeed. And I think they make us do compliances. I think for about 2 years ago, we have been doing it every year. Do you guys know if that's correct or if it's like the same thing they were doing now? Or, I mean, I'd better be overprotected than not be protected, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I honestly, I don't know. Peyton, do you know? If you connected us and I could talk to them, I could figure it out.
Okay.
But Peyton, would you know? Off the top of your head? You're on mute, Peyton.
I know the announcement for the rule did come out late 2021, and obviously, if you know they were on top of it and your partner, they may have already started something like this. But me and Russ would be happy to meet with them and make sure, and if everything makes sense, have this pushed through.
Maybe it's in compliance to the POS 6 system versus our loan company, correct? Because it could be probably two different situations or two different, compliances.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. There's so many acronyms out there, from PCI to like FTC type of compliance. So we would be happy to go over that more with you and make sure everything's the way that it needs to be.
Thank you.
And then Summer asks, does this change the application process at all? No, it's not going to change the application process at all. It's just going to be an additional service you can get through FormPiper. And with the Red Sentry partnership, we're able to subsidize a lot of the costs for our customers. So I've talked to a few different companies who already had quotes for this. Some of them were FMG members in the furniture space. I know we have a lot of people in furniture and pet on right now. And the quotes that they came back with were like 7 times as much as what we're able to offer it at with our partnership with Red Sentry. So depending on how your network's set up, it's either going to be $100 a month per location, or it's going to be $250 a month. And it just depends on how that works with your VPNs, if they're channeled into your network's channeled through one VPN. Is that right, Peyton?
Yeah, so there's multiple locations, but the whole IT infrastructure tunnels into the same network from, say, like a corporate office, and you can view all of the other franchises like IT ports and activity. Then we were able to do it without doing multiple locations and just scan everything from kind of one place. Whereas if they weren't connected, we would need to test each individual location, as they would have their own internal IT network.
Awesome. And then with the vulnerabilities, oh, here we go. Use Clover Security for PCI DSS. They offer both.
Not much at all. It would be about the same. And if Clover Security is doing compliance as well, I'm sure they have multiple different different offerings. Whereas ours is just focused on those vulnerability scans for ABS or NBS or any type of compliance. It also, if you ever needed like CIS benchmark compliance, we have a cloud scanner that can do your cloud network as well to meet that framework.
And then, yeah, Angel, the only thing I would say there is depending on how much you're paying, we might be able to get you a better rate. So if that's something you want to talk more about, we can set up a call, or I know you and Robert have been talking about this a little bit. So we can go into that in a little bit more detail if you'd like. And then Peyton, something that a question that I've come up with just talking to people is, where all is this scanning? Is it just internal, external, cloud? You mind giving us a breakdown of that?
Yep, absolutely. So the scanner will be able to cover your external environment, so that your website, all of the subdomains and IPs associated with that, along with your internal network, with all of your internal devices and servers and all of the open internal ports that can be accessed from actual hacker. And then we also do cloud scanning, which will look for any vulnerabilities in, say, an AWS, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure environment. And
Perfect.
and then so kind of once you're able to sign up through FormPiper's integration page, it'll actually go ahead and auto create your account, get you the ability to log in and start scanning for you. So you can go ahead and get that report and everything you need for compliance right away. And then we could set up just a quick 20-30 minute call to set up the internal and cloud. And we have some really in-depth documentation that walks through that as well. And then you would have all those environments scanning through this partnership with FormPiper.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Peyton. Any other questions for Peyton or myself? Okay, so Katie's put my email address in here. I dropped my cell phone number in here. If you guys think of any questions after the demo, feel free to reach out. I'll get those answered. Or if you want to go ahead and get signed up, you need help, I can definitely help you with that. But again, I will send the recording of this demo to everybody after we're done, once it downloads to my inbox. And then this is something that we're going to be doing every Thursday for at least a couple more weeks, just to get everybody up to speed. Really, we want to educate everybody and then make sure that we're answering any questions that come up. So if you think of something and you want to come join the next demo, it's going to be the same time next Thursday. But you do have my contact information, so please feel free to reach out with any questions you have. And yes, pet stores, you guys can continue to reach out to Katie, and she will definitely get you taken care of. But I appreciate everybody's time. And like I said, I'll send out the recording and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.